So welcome to this course, Ascension, Mastering the Archetypal Steps of Reaching Your Goals. This is part 1, lesson 1. Now, I thought what I would do, of course, is begin with an introduction to this course, to this what will really be a series. And that is, I think, best served by us just diving into the word goals. So, you know what I've come to realize? And this actually came out of another course I taught called You Can Do Magic that I taught here in Boulder in 2019. And there was a section in that course where I did a little breakout on what it means to manifest goals or go for goals. And what occurred to me back then was that every goal that you ever make, every goal that you ever set for yourself, activates so much more than you realize. Activates through the law of synchronicity so much more than you realize. And that's just to say that there is a very incredible power to goal setting. The act of goal setting. There is incredible power in goals. So what I want to do in this course is teach you about what goals are, whether you've got goals that are very authentic for you, or maybe they're goals that are more on the side of chasing after value through wounded ego strategies, and maybe some of your goals are generated by this part of you that doesn't feel you're enough, whether that's true, and whether a goal is something that is both. It's both that, hey, it's part of this chasing after getting to enough, but it's also something fundamental to my soul's agreement in this lifetime, and agreements in this lifetime. So we're going to explore this incredible territory of goals, while also catching blind sides that I think aren't adequately oftentimes addressed in other goal setting courses I've seen, or kind of goal setting strategies that might be out there. Now, the first thing I want to do is bring a working definition of the word goal. What's a goal? Now, if you think of sports, I mean, you think of like the football goal with, that big thing that they kick a football through, or soccer where there's a goal they have to reach, or hockey, and the whole idea is to get whatever through the goal to score a point. Now, what a goal means in terms of what I want to do with you through this course as alchemists, as you're going to soon see as mountain climbers, is to define goals and a goal this way. A goal is a commitment to bring something out of your potential into manifested expression into your life. So a goal could be anything. I mean, there's so many different types of goals that exist that we could have. It could be something as concrete as finances and having a financial mark you want to hit, or something that is more connected to your health and maybe something like weight loss, or maybe it's the other way around. You want to bulk up and build muscles. It can be that physical. It can be the attainment of finally buying your first home, or maybe it's a relocation. What every goal has in common is that it's an end toward which ambition and effort are directed. So there's a sense of pushing energy toward a goal. There's a sense of using resources, expending resources to reach a certain goal, to attain something. So I want you to approach goals in a holographic way. So it can be anything for the purposes of this course. I'm going to teach you a model that really can be applied to any kind of goal. So whether that is finances, whether that is a health goal, whether that maybe you have a goal just to get through a divorce. I mean, that's a goal. Maybe the goal is accomplishing something in your career, or getting a new career going, or a new job. Maybe the goal is starting a family and finally maybe having children, starting, with your first child. Maybe it's adopting an animal. It can be starting a new business, entrepreneurial goals. It could be writing a book. It could be beginning a blog, or starting some kind of website or movement. It could be something also like just changing some life patterns, changing some habits, changing the way that you relate to yourself. I think these are all goals. Traveling the world, improving a marriage, or any of your other relationships. I think anything that you feel has some kind of sense of concrete attainment or end result, I want you to bring to this course. So what I want to now say is that no matter what your goals are, and mostly we relate to them maybe as finances or jobs, or maybe it is I would really like to start a new wonderful committed relationship or improve on the relationships I have. Or, of course, as we go into the turnover of 1 year calendric year to the other, we always have our New Year's quote unquote resolutions / goals, which always tend to include weight loss, or maybe you have a goal to become fluent in another language. I mean, there's so many fabulous goals that you can think about. And as I move in and toward goals and we start to define the word goal holographically, I want you to come to a common denominator about all goals. And that is, every goal is the summit of a mountain climb. So I think this image of climbing a mountain and reaching the summit is archetypally appropriate. And not only that, the process of the climb itself is archetypally spot on. So I want you now to think about, okay, I've got a goal, whatever that is. And what's also true is that I've just summoned a mountain climb in my life to reach that goal. Now, that mountain climb might just be a hill. It might be one of those hill type goals where it's just a few feet up and then you're there. And then there's the other spectrum here where maybe that mountain climb is a 14er, as we say here in Colorado, or actually most people say, 14,000 feet high. Maybe that goal is to hit this peak where you're in the clouds. It's that big. The climb is that arduous, that steep, that it takes you up that far and tests your mettle that much. So first thing I want you to do in assessing the goals you're bringing to this course is, what variety of goal are we talking about here? Get a sense of that for yourself. Are we doing 14ers? Is one of these a 14er? Now, to begin this course, I would have you absolutely come up with 3 solid goals of any kind, of any nature. And maybe just to practice within the material I'm going to teach you here as a way to really ground it for yourself, maybe have a few that are one that's a 14er, one that's somewhere in the middle, one that's maybe a little bit lower on the rung of, what it's going to take to get to. And gauge that by your own sensibility. So for someone who is more adept at climbing mountains, and I mean this metaphorically, and you could also take it to the literal, a 1,000-foot climb is nothing for them. It takes some effort, sure, but it's not a 9,000-foot climb. But for someone else who's not adept at, doing a climb, 1,000 feet is going to be kind of hard. Just get a sense for yourself. What kind of goal are we working with here? And not only that, now let's go a little bigger and a little more holographic. Is this more an interior goal? Is this more of an outer goal? Like it's more effort into the world to attain something more concrete in the world? Or is this more of an inner self-relationship goal? All of them belong here. All of them. And maybe you've got both and. This one is about, this 14er I'm going to have to climb, and I can be absolutely assured that to get to the top of that mountain, to achieve and attain that goal, is going to both be an inner and outer feat, both. And that's really true of where we mostly land, is in the both and. So I just want to kind of ping around and map the territory of goals and what they are. And that every goal, regardless of how high, how arduous, it is going to activate a mountain climbing process and journey. Without exception, really. I think if you're not activating that, then you're probably not in the territory of a goal. You're in the territory maybe of a to-do list, and there's a difference. So what a mountain climbing journey is about, it's about an archetypal process of development. And I can't stress that enough. Let me say it another way with the word goal. Every goal you ever create is going to activate a process of development. Process of development. Did you hear me? Because I think a lot of us think, well, there's the goal. It's just a matter of time or timing. We kind of leave out there's a whole bunch of development that's going to happen en route to the attainment or achievement of that goal, en route to the summit of that mountain. You will not, let me say it another way, you will not be the same person. And this is sort of the goal paradox, that by the time you reach that goal, you won't be the same person that even created the goal. You won't be. I would say it's nearly impossible that you would be the same person by the time you arrive at your goal that created the goal. So what you will find as we go through this whole journey together is that there are so many paradoxes to mountain climbing and goals. And what I'm after is activating in you something I call the mystical mountain climber. It's a way to be, it's a way to climb mountains, probably that you've never really heard of this way. Now, mountain climbing, in truth, is actually a facet of living your destiny. So all of us have a destiny, which is we were all born through soul agreements, something I call a soul contract, to evolve our souls in this journey of being human. And embedded and connected to this journey of being human, we are meant to have goals. We are meant to aspire and mountain climb toward goals. That is a driving facet of destiny, and therefore a very fundamental part of your soul contract. And I'm not sure we've ever really thought about it that way in that language, because mostly goals is when we approach goals, it's mostly approached through the coaching arts, or let's say the fitness arts, fitness, and maybe we approach it more academically if we're in school, or through business. But we don't usually go, oh my gosh, I actually have a soul contract to achieve goals, to create goals. Yeah, you do. So I'm interjecting here the word sacred. Setting goals is a sacred process. And that's why I want you to understand the power of this. Because your soul chose this earth for a reason. It chose this place where we have mountains to climb for a very specific reason. Whether that goal is simply surmounting a life challenge, or whether that goal is accomplishing something that leaves your mark on the world in a significant way. Sometimes our goals are just to get through a health challenge. Sometimes our goals are, I really want to become a master at something. I want to become learned at something. Not only that, I want to have impact on culture, on the world itself. My goal is to reshape culture, reshape society. Now, those are megawatt goals. Those are 14ers. That kind of goal. When you're doing something that's going to somehow impact the world in a profound way, where it reshapes the patterns of the world, the belief systems of the world. Well, now we're in the 14er range of goals. So your soul chose a goal-based life experience. And I want you to consider goal setting as actually a sacred act. We're in sacred territory. And I'm not sure I've never heard anyone talk about goals that way, but I want you from now on to think that way. And as we move through this, and I technically point you toward everything goals activate in your system, in your psyche, in your life, and I mean your relationships, I mean how you move within your habits, your patterns, your choices, actions, and beliefs. Goals affect all of that. So, for example, I think one of the common ways that certainly I think about 10 years ago, a lot of us were introduced to this idea of vision boards and of goal setting through imagery and putting that up perhaps on a board where, it's where we have vision and where we want to manifest something on, and that board is, a place where we can give that artistic representation. And then this was sort of codified into some misinterpretation of quantum physics and attraction and something called the law of attraction, where it was about, well, if you just put it up there, it has to happen. If you feel it strong enough, it has to happen. Well, we obviously know that none of that's true, because there's a lot of things we think about, feel, and focus on, and they don't happen. We've probably written down many goals, or maybe even done vision boarding in a way where it just didn't happen. But what is true about this, about setting goals? Because I'm just going to say that's just a process of setting goals. That's all that is. It's a way of giving goals, maybe symbolic and visual representation, but it's just setting goals. I'd like to have this. I'd like to have that. Now, as I say that, I hope you can sense and feel there's no animation or activation in that. From the point of view of, if you just put something up as a picture and wish that were your life, or something that comes into your life or manifests in your life, sorry, the universe just doesn't work that way. Your life doesn't work that way. You already know this, you're living it. But how it does work is this, and this is where, when we approach this as a sacred act with meat on the bone, we go, okay, here's the real deal. And this is how I want you to think about every goal you're bringing to this course right now. You're going to look at every goal, and as you would look at anything on a vision board or any kind of other thing that you do that gives, some sort of ritualistic process and animation and physical, perhaps visual representation to your goals, you're going to ask yourself this: who do I have to become for that goal to manifest in my life? What would be required of me to see that goal from vision to manifestation? From, let's say, conception to birth. What would it take for a goal to move through you into the world? And this is where I'm going to say, what it's going to take? Climbing a mountain. So what was conveniently left out of the bypass approach to goal setting that became very popular with the law of attraction philosophy and everything else that's been out there was that, what? It's not just as easy as putting that up on a board. You're going to have to climb a mountain to get to that. And that's if it's even in your soul contract as a possibility to happen. Because if it's not in your potential, it's not happening at all. So we're going to take some deep dives into questions like, is this goal in my potential? Is this goal actually something that I have some force in me that can create it? And if not, am I under contract to develop that kind of muscle, to develop that kind of grace? Now, I'm sure you're already sensing, whoa, there's a lot more to setting a goal than meets the eye. And in some ways, I will tell you, if you really get down to understanding the magic in your system to manifest goals, to mountain climb to a summit and attain a goal, you'd be very, very, maybe more mindful, much more mindful of the kind of things that you wish for or that you point your focus toward. Because, as we will learn, you just summoned the dark night of a goal. Every goal will summon a dark night. It's part of the mountain climb. So I want to present to you the six phases that come with mountain climbing, i.e. attaining a goal. And we're going to go through each phase through this whole course, step by step, phase by phase. And I'm going to, in each phase, teach you about the phase and what kind of challenges will meet you in that phase and how to work with them. So the first phase of mountain climbing and, let's say, goal attainment is simply goal creation. You got to create a goal. And then within that, there's also assessment, which I'll explain shortly. That's the first phase. Phase 2, you got to start the mountain climb. Okay, so you've come up with the goal. You've done a thorough self-assessment, life assessment. And now guess what? Phase 2 is here. Get climbing. And then that leads us to phase 3. As you're climbing, eventually you're going to hit, yes, the dark night of the goal. One could also say the dark night of the mountain climb. This is a phase I'm going to spend some time in because there's a lot that happens here in that particular phase. It's when I think whatever you had envisioned really starts to test your character, your archetypal architecture and power, and your patterns. It starts to really clarify for you the choices you make, the habits you have, and then some, the relationships you're part of that wouldn't want you to go near that goal and why. So phase 4, moving out of phase 3, which is the dark night of the goal, we go into the pre-summit phase. And in this phase, we're going to confront our fears of success. And I'm going to actually kind of debunk that even exists. I'm going to tell you what the fear really is about. It's not about a fear of success. I'm calling BS on that. But I got the truth behind that. It's pointing toward a truth. That is phase 4. Phase 5 is the actual summit. And this is where you're going to attain the goal, move into the goal. It's manifested. Now a new self, a new life is going on. And you're stabilizing yourself in this new territory of the goal and its attainment. And then, as it would happen, stage 5 organically over time becomes stage 6, where the summit of that particular goal becomes the base of another mountain to climb. And the cycle of creation and mountain climbing continues, and goal setting and attainment and achievement continues. So we're going to dive into this, and I'm going to walk you stage by stage, phase by phase, giving little breakout sessions in each phase that I think are necessary for you to understand what that phase asks of you as a mountain climber and how to meet that and get clarified and strengthened. And I'm going to bring back a word that is sorely missing in our culture and society, and that is the word character. Building your character.